What is Linux? Why does Linux work? How does Linux work? That's why I'm here to show you today how to download Linux, install Linux, and run it on a virtual machine. Anyway, let's begin. I have to do this. Okay, so we're going to start by downloading Oracle VirtualBox. That's what we're going to use to run the virtual machine. So the first thing that you have to do is download Oracle VirtualBox. Sorry, I have to type with one hand because I'm holding the microphone. I have one of those microphones. Anyway, when you search Oracle VirtualBox, it'll be the first thing that pops up. Anyway, what you want to do is you want to go to this website. You scroll down and you click Download VirtualBox 5.1 or whatever the version is when you get to this website. Anyway, in Downloads, you want to click Windows Hosts, assuming that you're running Windows, or if you have anything else, it should be right there. Anyway, so since I run Windows, I'd click Windows Hosts, and I am going to cancel because I already have downloaded VirtualBox and installed it. Basically, it'll download an installer, and when you get that installer, you can pretty much just click OK until you get to the point. Anyway, I'm going to open up MS Paint so I can do a demonstration. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. The blue boxes are computers, and the red boxes are OSs. So, this is the computer that I'm using to record this. What we're going to do is we're going to create a virtual we're going to run the program, which I'm going to make orange, VirtualBox, on our computer. And then we are going to make a computer inside of VirtualBox. And then we're going to install Linux Mint 18.1 64-bit in the virtual machine. You know, some people will do something called dual boot, where basically they will just put the operating system right onto their computer and run it alongside Windows. So you'd have Windows on one side and then Linux on the other side. You can choose to run one or the other on startup. Anyway, what you want to do right now is you want to reboot your system and go into the BIOS settings. And in the BIOS settings, there should in the system configuration, there should be something called virtual settings, and it'll say disabled, and you can enable it. But if you don't do it, it's fine. You just won't be able to run 64-bit operating systems. You'll only be able to run 32-bit. I ran that the hard way. Anyway, let's open up VirtualBox and begin the fun stuff. Okay, this is VirtualBox. I'm going to shrink it down to size so it can fit in the... Sorry, my aspect ratio is a bit off because I'm trying to be able to do stuff on the other side of the screen without having to show it on video. Anyway, we're going to create a new operating system and call it Linux Mint. Once again, I'm typing with one hand. That's why I'm typing so slow. We're going to do other Linux 64-bit if you have... let's see. If you have Linux Mint 18 Mate 64-bit with the Serena desktop, then you will do other Linux 64-bit. If you're running Ubuntu, they have an option for Ubuntu, but you're still going to need the ISO file. So I'm going to run the 64-bit version. I'm going to give it 1 GB of memory, which is 1024 megabytes. And we are going to create a virtual hard disk for our operating system to be in, because if it doesn't have disk, if we put it onto our disk with Windows, it's not going to run right, and it's going to be very hard to organize things. And I don't think it's possible to do that with VirtualBox anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a file that I had made myself, and I'm going to save it as virtual disk image file, or VirtualBox disk image. Sorry. Anyway. The difference between dynamically allocated and fixed size is always the same size, and if you fill it up too much, it won't be able to write anymore. Dynamically allocated means it will grow, like the disk size will grow as you put more stuff on it. We're going to need a little more than 8 gigabytes to be able to install Linux Mint. I'll go for 20 gigs, that'll be fine. Anyway, so Actually, I want it to be exactly 20 gigs. So we'll do 20 GB. Oh. Wow, it goes all the way up to 2 terabytes. Anyway, so I'm just going to do about 20 gigabytes. It doesn't really matter. I was trying to get it exact, but that's not really necessary. And I'm going to create the machine. This is where the magic happens. So, if you can't see the window completely. Oh, wow, that's perfect. Anyway, you can see it's powered off. If you start it, I don't know how my video recorder is going to like this. Video recorder plus VirtualMachine equals living hell. Anyway, if you want to browse for your ISO file, which is, for me, located in the place where I downloaded it. When you download Linux Mint, it downloads as an ISO. It doesn't download anything else. We're going to open it. And then we're going to start it. This is how it's going to start. Okay. So it looks like Linux Mint booted successfully so far, but it hasn't actually booted yet. It's going to boot in like 2 seconds, literally. Let's see if it boots right. Since I have the virtual stuff enabled in the BIOS, it should be able to run 64-bit just fine. I did a test before, so I know this will probably work. I suggest that you enable your pointer capture and your keyboard capture, so that way you don't have to mess with it later on, so it automatically catches your mouse as soon as it goes into frame. Still not sure how my recorder's handling this. I might have to redo the video if it's not right. It'll take a minute to load. Since we only gave it 1 gigabyte of RAM, it's going to have a hard time being able to run stuff. But unless you're doing some heavy processing on your virtual machine, I don't suggest adding more than 1 gigabyte. Since it's on a virtual machine, it shouldn't require the Mint login that it usually does. If it does require a login, just put Mint as the username and leave nothing as the password. And that should log you in as a guest. We're not going to need to log in as a user yet. I'm not sure how that works. I'll make another video on that. And it boots you right to your desktop. If you did a dual boot and you decided to put the operating system on your actual computer, it's going to take you to something like the Windows 10 lock screen instead of putting you on the Linux Mint screen. Anyway, this is Linux Mint. If you put it full screen, it's not going to be the right resolution, but there's a way to fix that. And this is pretty much it. You have basic programs. It comes with Mozilla Firefox, a console, file explorer. Yes. I'm not sure how much you could do with that console. I only know the basics of Linux. What I like about Linux is even when the mouse is a loading sign, you can still click stuff. But on Windows, it'll be a loading sign and you won't be able to click anything. That's annoying. Anyway, to actually install Linux Mint... Oh, by the way, if you haven't already, go to youtube.com. This is an important part. You need this to run Linux. You need to go to youtube.com. Wait for it to load, because it's super slow. And then you will search. This is vital, by the way. If you don't do this, Linux will not work correctly. You got to do a good explanation. Oops, 2 X's. It'll still pop up. Anyway, this is totally vital. If you don't do this, I guarantee you your computer will crash and it will hate you and you will have bad luck for the rest of your life. So you got to look up my channel when it loads. I should have added a little more than 1 gig of RAM. Anyway, then you'll go to my channel. You click a good explanation when it loads. And then you click subscribe. You scroll this way. And then you click subscribe. And you turn on notifications. Anyway, so now, just to finish installing Linux Mint, you click Install Linux Mint on the desktop. And you shouldn't really need to do much. Since you already created a virtual disk, you can... And it'll probably detect that the disk is empty, and you can just use the whole disk. because it thinks it's a real disk, although it's a virtual disk from Oracle. Oh, I like how it calls you super user instead of admin like Windows does. I seriously should have added more RAM. Anyway, so Wi-Fi stuff, Flash, MP3, all that good stuff. So, if you didn't know already, this is the program. In the background, this is the program. And this is the computer that we made in the program. And this is the operating system we put in the program. And technically, we opened another application in the program that we opened with a computer that we made with the program on our Windows 10, which is on a computer. That's awesome. Anyway, I'm hitting the 11-minute mark. That's a lot longer than any of my other videos I've ever made. It's going to take us so long to render. Sorry about the watermark in the corner. I'll get rid of that as... Oh, I was about to close it. You can do erase disk and install now, because you have nothing on it, because you're on a virtual disk, so no matter what you do on here, it won't affect your real computer. Partition. Continue. Basically, at this point, Linux Mint will install, and you'll have Linux Mint on your system. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this.